GHRT Rewinds on VOM are brought to you by Laughlin and Wolfington Team, your home sold guaranteed realty. Online at lwrteam.com. This is the George Hale Ric Tyler Show. George is not here, recovering from a sinus infection. And Andy Neff, independent journalist, thanks for getting up, coming in this morning in SS7A, sir.
Anytime, Rick.
I'd like you to meet, because I don't know if you've had the privilege of meeting Tammy Lacher Scully.
I have not personally.
She is from Belfast. Tammy, welcome back to the George Hale Ric Tyler Show. I know George regrets that he's not here today to welcome you back and see how you're doing, Tammy. Hello.
Hi, thank you very much for having me on.
Now, even it's been so long since you've been on, and we haven't been saying the name of your son as much as we were about 8 months ago. Are we still Lacher, saying his last name correctly? I know that's an odd question to ask, but I want to make sure. Okay.
That's correct. Thanks. Yes.
Andy, I think you're familiar with the story about Graham Lacher. Mm-hmm. It was June. You know what, Tammy, I'm sorry. You should remind us of who your son is, what happened, and then we'll get into the importance of continuing the search to find him.
Okay. Graham, my son, is 38 years old. He was a patient at the Dorothea Dick Psychiatric Center in Bangor in June of last year when what we believe was a psychotic episode. He fled into the woods behind the facility, and we have not had a confirmed sighting of him since. My son is diagnosed both autistic and schizophrenic. It means that he avoids contact with people if he possibly can, and he's also known to have fears of interacting with people. So it has made it very difficult to search for him in any conventional way because he's not likely to seek out people, congregate with people. He's more likely to hang back, kind of hide. What we hope is that he's sought help when he really needed it, shelter when it was severely cold this winter, food from places that hand that out to homeless individuals. And we have been looking ever since, and we continue to look, and we continue to have hope.
I'm not familiar with this. This is why I'm asking this question. This may seem like something you answered a long time ago, but with his particular aversion to strangers, would that even, and you kind of touched on this, would that apply even if it was a case where he was, shiveringly cold, needed to eat something, it needed to be hydrated? Would he still avoid human contact in that situation?
He might to a large extent. What we're hoping is that, like everybody, his survival instincts would kick in if he was really in trouble, and that he would accept help. We've thought he would especially perhaps accept it if the person seemed non-threatening to him, an older woman or an older man who offered some help, possibly at church, something like that, where he doesn't feel particularly threatened. He might accept help. We also think, though, that having done that, he might also move on. He doesn't form friendships and relationships, or hasn't in several years, and so might not linger with somebody who helped him, might continue to move on, which, of course, makes us think he could be anywhere.
Before we touch on the increase in the reward for information that leads to a successful reunification, we go over just a couple more things that we've talked about before. And this is for Andy, this is for anyone that's just hearing the account of what happened with Graham and the search for him now since last June. Tammy, you've told us a couple of things. Graham needs his medication to know that he needs his medication. He's an avid reader, and he's also smart. He knows where to go and seek shelter should he need shelter. And at least two of those three things gives us hope that he is somewhere either getting the care that he needs or someone is providing it to him.
Yes, definitely. We certainly hope that he knows where to get help. He is intelligent. He's seen every movie, on how to survive in a difficult circumstance, and we're hoping some of that kicks in during this time that he's been missing and adrift. He does not have access to his medications, unfortunately. We have had someone monitoring that for us. If he showed up at a hospital or clinic or anything like that seeking medical attention, we would expect to know. He has not shown up, as far as we know, at any of the official homeless shelters in the state of Maine. We've made contact with all of them and left my guardianship papers with them, making it clear that they can contact us if they do encounter him. But we also know that there are just individual people, Good Samaritans, who reach out and help the less fortunate, and that's what we're hoping has happened for Graham.
Tammy, have you had any, not breaks, but maybe overstating things, but have you had some promising things come up, or in hopes of promising things coming up in the spring as all that winter snow and everything else finally goes away?
We hope so. It actually creates excellent conditions to do some aerial search again. Drones and helicopters were used in the past, but probably too long after he left to really yield good results, and there was full foliage at that time in June. There isn't yet. However, those resources won't be employed unless there is a credible sighting, meaning someone has seen him who perhaps knows him or is very familiar with the case, is fairly certain that he is who they've seen. Ideally, they would have a picture, and I would be able to identify him, or at least not eliminate him, eliminate the person as a credible sighting. And we do continue to get sightings from all over the state. We've recently, just in the last couple of days, had a potential sighting in Kittery and one in Lubec. So that pretty much runs the length of Maine. And then we've had a cluster of potential sightings in Bangor. Prior to that, in the Augusta, Gardner area as well, Waterville. So we get reports from many people. We follow up on all of those. We're encouraged simply by the fact that people continue to look and continue to contact us. I think that I was asked by a reporter how many potential sightings do we typically get, and so I went back and dug through all of my notes and messages and found out that in 294 days we had 214 potential sightings reported to us, and those are just the ones reported to us. There are also reports going to law enforcement. So that encourages us to keep looking.
Tammy Lacher Scully is our guest here on Augusta, Waterville's news talk station, VOM. She's the mother of Graham Lacher. We've been looking for him since last June. Tell us about the increase in the reward for a successful reunification, Tammy.
Well, the reward is now up to $5,000. We had a very generous offer from a friend who lives on the west coast of our country and can't be here to search himself, and really wanted to do something that might make a difference. And we're really hoping that the increase in the reward, more than anything else, just gains us more attention of people and might be a motivating factor for someone to look harder, to report what they see. That is what we're hoping for with the increase in the reward at this point.
Do authorities tell you anything specifically that something to look for, or anything that gives you increased optimism about being able to find him, especially after a fairly long, cold winter?
Mm-hmm. Well, the most hopeful thing I would say is that his remains have not been found, and that and early on there were a pretty concerted effort to do that through helicopter, drones, looking for animal sign. We made a special appeal to hunters, ATVers, snowmobilers, hikers, anybody who was out in the woods during all of that good weather and then through the winter. None of that has, produced the remains. So in our hearts and minds, he's still alive, and we're still looking for him.
A listener sends this text message to you, Tammy, asking, has missing persons reports been filed in other states? I think we know the answer to this, but we'll toss that to you, Tammy.
Well, a missing person report has not been filed in another state because he went missing here in Maine. However, we do get sightings from other states, potential sightings. I always want to be careful to say that. And we also follow up on those as best we can. And, we've had them from Oklahoma, from Georgia, from Oregon. Those are the ones that come to the, front of my mind as I'm talking to you. But, Florida, did I say Florida? We've had them, from a number of states. Most of those, if not all of those, we've been able to eliminate because they've been identified as someone else, or they've sent a photo to me of the person and I realize that it's not Graham. But the one thing that has helped, I think, it's something we tried, we hope it helped, we wanted to expand what is only a state alert, which is the Maine State Silver Alert. Graham's the subject of a Silver Alert here in Maine. Mm-hmm. We wanted to expand that outside the state, and that isn't anything that's established by law, so we really had to try to do that ourselves. We had 30 volunteers collect information for us. We sent that alert out to more than 200 agencies outside the state of Maine. We also asked the Bangor Police Department to do whatever they could in terms of a regional alert, and they were able to get bulletins in 2 networks that they use. They call them fusion networks. They send out notices to law enforcement departments as well as individual patrol officers. So we really do hope we expanded our effort that way. We've definitely gotten sightings from other places, but the only missing person report filed is the one from the state of Maine.
If we can we pass along this text message to Tammy, Andy? I know it's your turn to pose a question to her, but this is a person that may be just hearing about Graham for the first time, and they understand that this combination of medical challenges would make it very difficult for someone just to yell out, "Hey, Graham!" He would probably run in the other direction, even though you're trying to help. Whom do I contact if I suspect I've spotted Graham? Local authorities in our area or someone else?
Excellent question, and it's actually been a subject of another effort of ours is to clarify that because there was a lot of confusion initially. What you should do, I believe, is first try to take a picture or a video, even if the video is of the person walking away from you, because I can tell a lot from my son's gait. Call 911, mention Graham Lacher Silver Alert in that call so they know he is an identified missing at-risk adult. And then please contact me via our Facebook page, Missing Graham Lacher. Sometimes local police don't have the resources to follow up on the sightings. We always follow up on them as quickly as we can, and we now have people in various areas of the state helping us so that we can respond more quickly to reported sightings. And you're right, it probably is not a good idea to call out his name. It might alarm him, make him flee.
And a gentleman named Tom has written this email to you. They ask us to share with you. I recently saw a sign at a local home care agency in Benton with Graham's name and picture on it. Please let his mother know that we will keep looking for him. And that is from Tom in Oakland, Tammy. There are people that are on your side.
That's wonderful, and we are so grateful for that sign. That is a private business owner who wanted to help, so she dedicated one of the rotations of her large digital sign to Graham's image and the request to call if you see him. We're very, very grateful for that. We'd love to have those all over the state.
GHRT Rewinds on VOM are brought to you by Laughlin and Wolfington Team, your home sold guaranteed realty. Call them at 629-9211 and start packing.